And please welcome one of America's premier entertainers, Grammy Award winner, Lee Greenwood.
Yeah. If tomorrow all the things were gone, work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I always stand up next to you and defend her still today. There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Okay, guys, glad you hopped on here tonight. I felt we needed that to start with, huh? I really only have one actual announcement, and it's a really important announcement for those of you who did or may not have yet had a chance to watch the immune system live video, I guess is probably what I should call it, that I put on my wall 3 days ago. Help me out here. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, even as I was doing it, as I was saying it, stuff was like welling up in my heart at the relevance and importance of what we offer. Now, I say what we offer often. I say that, thinking about what we offer, what we offer is this. And I kind of have almost started using the phrase a little flippantly, but I want to read to you the post that I made today. And trust me when I say I could feel this all the way to my toes when I was typing it. I said, price of a loaf of bread, $2, box of tampons, $5, toilet paper 12-pack, $12, figuring out why you've been so weird the last several years, priceless. And then here's how I labeled myself an immune system educator, which is right in network marketing, who follows Q. What on earth is that, right? Like nobody even knows. Like I go in all the weirdest categories. You can put me in the minority in almost all the categories, like whatever, you know? It's been almost lonely feeling when people have been too preoccupied to listen. Right now, my life and the lives of those who have been receptive in it, and the lives of those who have been receptive is a very different landscape than those who were too busy. We don't have to worry about our immune systems right now. Many of us have an extra stream of income because of this and are working from home. And then I just said basically thank you to my friends who have stuck in there with me and cheered me on through basically my weirdness. Well, the thing is, we're in the climate now where working from home and network marketing is going to be the norm. If this economy does what I think it's going to do, brick and mortar businesses, and no offense to anybody who has one, I should have opened this with this, but I'm really right now doing a promo. I'll do the promo first for our event that's coming up in 2 nights. I'm kind of pumping you up with it in your heart so that really you know the message that you carry when you leave here is of relevance, but it doesn't have to be salesy. The less salesy that you can make it be, the better, because what I do now, I realize pretty much every decision I make every day has humanity in mind. Like literally right now, I wish I could literally not even like grab and choke every person I've ever tried to persuade. I wish I could grab them and just hug them, because I know right now people are scared about their immune systems. They're scared about their income. They're going to be cooped up at home. I'm not saying that you need to sell that right now. I'm just pumping you up inside your heart so that you realize what am I trying to say? You realize the temperature, maybe not right now. Like we don't know how people are going to respond right now. There's no telling, depends on what happens over the next few days. But over the landscape of the next several months and the next couple of years, this is going to be a whole different ball game, And that's what I believe. I was promising myself earlier that I wasn't going to talk real politics, but that's what I believe. Now, with that being said, the event that we're doing Thursday night, it may just be me going live talking about immune system, very much like I did the other night, but I'll try to keep it shorter and maybe a little spicier, a little fun, but I won't make it cheesy. There won't be any graphics except for maybe to announce it. And if there may be a couple other things, maybe if we do some sort of heartfelt giveaway, maybe I could give away some toilet paper. I'm just saying. So anyway, I'm just going to make it, very warm. I know that sometimes I can be the cousin that embarrasses you if you brought someone to what we do and they don't get it. But on Thursday night, if you would allow me to go live in front of all your friends and project my heart out to them about the immune system in a way that's not, we tried to tell you, because everything in me, I'm just going to tell you right now, is screaming, we tried to tell you, but I'm not saying it. I won't do it. You understand? Okay. Moving along. That was a big intro. Thursday night, get your people. They're going to be cooped up at home anyway, right? It's the perfect setup to have people listen in and just learn. I knew I was going to be going live, and I knew how important and relevant this live was. So I went into town today and got a blowout. Now, do y'all believe me? No, that's why I wanted to do just a quick promo, and you guys can click my affiliate link. I can hear my husband laughing in the other room. It looks like a blowout, doesn't it? And I'll send you my affiliate link. Not to make you guys stress out about your hair while you're quarantined at home. Okay. Now I think what we will do is move into the portion of this whole thing where I'm going to have to make some rules before we start. I have a little backstory to tell you, but perhaps I should see what kind of questions you guys have, because like when your child asks you what is sex and you go, oh, and you go straight into it, when really what they meant is like, or no, how does it, where do babies come from? That's the question. Where do babies come from? And they just mean from your belly, and you start answering the whole thing. Okay, so rather than me jump outside the enchilada that you guys came for, let's keep it within the same, and let's see if you guys have any questions about what's going on in our country right now. And feel free, and here's my only disclaimer. I brought a bell. If there's a question that's going to make me seem crazier than I already am to answer it, I'm sorry, that one's out of bounds. So I'll do the best I can to shoot you guys straight. Questions? I feel like there's somebody unmuted. Oh, quiet. What? This is entertaining. I figured you guys
Come on, Lori. None of this bell crap. You just go ahead and spill it.
Go ahead and ask. I'm just saying, like, there may be something that if the answer is too bizarre, I may have to say, ew, I don't know if I want to answer that on video. But so no one has any questions. This is amazing.
No, I'll go.
Okay.
It might even already be something that you and I talked about, but this might be something that others might benefit from knowing, but they don't know to ask the question.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not like, girl, I just told you that 2 hours ago. Like, doesn't she ever listen to me? And I know those words have come out of your mouth. As far as in regards to what could we foresee with the business, like our businesses and like home office, like I know that they just put an email out earlier saying that right now they're pairing things as far as like no tours and things like that, but do you see anything like with and this isn't really politics, this is more business, so sorry if that's not what you were wanting.
No, it's what I'm wanting. Whatever people are curious about.
Okay. If there is like a communication like shutdown with like global, like with like not Plexus and us, but like I don't know, the internet, like what do we have to, like what would that look like? What are your thoughts?
Okay, I can tell you what my thoughts are. I don't know exactly what it will look like. And I was telling one of my kids earlier tonight, she was asking me questions about where her boyfriend works, and it's the gas company. And she said they don't even have a complete plan in place yet. And I said, well, I've lived my whole life and never done something like whatever this is. I said, they're making it up as they go. And I believe based on what types of announcements we get over, I would say, write this down, between now and say midnight tomorrow night, there's some wiggle room to get gas, and say things that you may not have thought of, which I'm going to just name just a handful of things. You probably have found a bug out list somewhere on the internet, but things you might not have thought of would be stuff like maybe animal food for your dogs and cats and stuff, and also maybe tampons, just the basics like that. I would suggest, because we don't know for sure when the 2 to 3 week thing would and wouldn't start, I do think that I think the mail will keep running for a while. I just asked my friend that question. I'm waiting on him to answer me back. That's when I was typing. I don't know if we'll still keep shipping stuff if the internet actually goes down. I don't know if we would still process. I don't know how they could. I don't know if everything is online or if they have where they could process orders that were already placed. But if you are a person like many on my team are, who are literally like life dependent almost on some of our products, I would go ahead and order an extra of the one, and I would go ahead and do it tonight if I were you. As far as how the company, okay, what, you got a question on your face, Aaron? Oops.
No, I was just going to tell you to read the question in the comments because somebody said 3 months, and I think that's a bit excessive.
Just a second. I don't know what's going on. Somebody's sharing their screen. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm trying to go back. Well, oh, here's my view options. Hang on. Okay, sorry.
It says Diane Bevan's screen.
Yeah, I think I've got it. Did I fix it?
No, it still shows that we're viewing Diane Bevan's
Okay.
screen.
Okay, there we go. Maybe that fixed it. No?
No.
He needs to do something on her end.
Okay, I keep saying stop the participant sharing. Does anybody else know what to do?
I-
Okay.
I think Diane has to unstop
She
it.
has to hit whatever button she hit to screen share. She's got to hit it again to stop screen share.
Okay. There. Are we back now?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Tell me again. I literally don't even have any idea what was just asked. Just start me and then I'll remember.
Somebody said about the internet thing, and then should we do 3 months? Because I said look at the comments so you can read what they're saying. And I thought 3 months was a bit excessive, but I don't know things that you know.
No, I would say your initial stuff, I would have about, if you want to be able to hole up and not have to worry about it, I think that if martial guard gets implemented, now this is just based on what I think, if martial law, I mean, by the National Guard, if martial law were to get implemented between now and midnight tomorrow night, I would say the way they're doing it in Italy is they're allowing a representative from each household to still be able to go to the grocery store, but it's not convenient and it's not fun. It's like in Italy, it's guarded doors. They let so many in the time. You have to stay in your car until it's your turn. Social distancing. So if you want to be pack ratted up like I wanted to be, I would say it would be smart to have 2 weeks worth of essentials. If you're one of those people who is bad at knowing what essentials are, and if you're not a health food freak, then I would say go the whole, if you're on a budget and you're concerned about it, I would go the whole oatmeal, peanut butter, mac and cheese, ramen noodle route. Oh, Jetty's giving me suggestions in there. Chicken pot pies, those kind of things. I know that none of that is healthy, but we're worried more about happiness than health right now, right? So if that would comfort food you in and make you feel better for a few days, and it would be not too expensive. The other things I mentioned, because somebody was asking that, were like dog food, tampons, maybe detergent, dish soap, that kind of thing. I would have something you can mix 90% rubbing alcohol. This is like prepper stuff extraordinaire, but there's not any hand sanitizer out there, but I think you can mix 90% rubbing alcohol and aloe together. That makes a good hand sanitizer. Everclear. I'm just saying there are other options if they're out of alcohol, because they are lots of places. Let me.
Also, Pennsylvania, you definitely want to do the liquor store tomorrow because Pennsylvania already shut down their liquor stores.
Mm-hmm. My guess is you need to do anything you're going to do tomorrow. Gas up your vehicles. By the way, and if anybody's joining this and they don't know what in the world, like exactly where I'm coming from, first of all, I just need to say I'm not scared. That's the thing. A lot of people have told me you should have led with you're not scared. I didn't know whether to be scared or not. Okay, I'm going to go down the questions here. My personal opinion about if you wanted to start following Q is the best place to follow it. Actual Q posts or drops are on qmap.pub, www.qmap.pub. That's the actual Q posts. Those are not easy to decode. So I follow people on Twitter who are what you would now call anons, QAnons, or patriots. And I've been following along with them for a couple of years, picking up clues and tidbits until it recently had become more than just clues and tidbits. There's so much information out there. There are a few little abbreviations that people may not know because I've done nothing since this started but answer questions. So the reason I'm leading with these is this is what people ask me. POTUS is President of the United States. FLOTUS is First Lady of the United States. I don't consider any of these questions dumb because I remember being like, what? MSM is mainstream media.
Who's Isaac?
Do what?
Who's Isaac?
Cap.
You just, yeah.
He's someone who supposedly killed himself right as some of this was taking off, but he had just done some Periscope videos outing a lot of celebrities. And so it's believed that a lot of these celebrities are tied in with some of these weird deaths. Anyway, anything I'm putting out there, it's for people to study on their own, make their own decisions. It's the stuff that was of interest to me. 1221 executive order is it's a law. It's an executive order that was put in by Trump. Y'all keep in mind, there's so much information rattling in my brain. If I wiggle it a little bit, it's not on purpose. But 1221 executive order is the ability to seize property of someone who has committed a heinous crime. So I don't know exactly what crimes fall in this, but there's a rumor floating around. I don't know if it's true, literally have no idea, but they're rumoring that Oprah was arrested today. If it's true, and if somebody knows for sure it's true, let me know. But if that's the case, they would be able to seize, the government would be able to seize because of 1221 executive order. There's an Isaac Cappy video too. He's really an amusing guy, really interesting. He's a white guy that has an afro and wears funny goggles and does all kinds. He's an actor who basically has a background with the some of the upper echelons of Hollywood, and that's how he apparently knew the stuff. Okay. I think it would be smart to have cash on hand. Yes. Yes, medicines. I would definitely be stocked up plenty on medicines because that's not something you'd want to jack around with. Okay. Yes, I do believe that our utilities will be on still. Can't promise that. Sorry, I meant to grab all the rest of these abbreviations. On Twitter, they say KEK, like kek. And that, I'm not exactly, they use it almost in replace of laughing out loud. It's like a little, it's something to do with the frog. Somebody else might know exactly what it means, but it doesn't mean anything that kept me from learning anything else. If that means it wasn't anything I couldn't wade through. The WWG1WGA, which is my banner on my cover photo, is Where We Go One, We Go All. That is probably the number one, I would say the number one subtitle of the QAnon movement. I think pretty much everything else, MAGA, people know what that is, I think. There's probably others I'm not thinking of. Okay, packets of beans and rice soup. Yeah, beans and rice and soup, right. Packets of powdered mashed potatoes, noodles, tuna, chicken, that's all good. About the martial law, if people would be able to get home, I think they might possibly be lenient in the very beginning, but I don't know. I think they probably feel like this is my opinion. I'm watching these other Q followers to see if I'm watching eyes to see if anybody thinks that this is right. My opinion is they probably feel like they've warned us, prepared us, and then next day prepared us, and next day prepared us. But if somebody's still swirling around, it's possible they get stuck where they are. Yes, Praying Medic is a great one to follow on Q.
Lori,
Yes.
there used to be a document that was out that kind of deciphered some of these
They're probably, I can
things. I used to have it and I lost it, and I just wondered if you did.
Something I really wanted to help you guys understand is, like, this is something I've had knowledge of, deep knowledge of for quite a while. And a lot of stuff that we do on these calls every week is based upon knowledge that I have had, like the types of stuff that we're doing, repentance. These are the things that I believe we're about to be called into, and even pretty much all the binding and loosing and all the things that I have been teaching you guys spiritually is what my friend Amber and I have clumsied upon as we have worked through learning. It's political, I understand. That's political. But as we have muddied through what God, we have felt like that God was asking us to do and pray over ourselves, over places that we work, over where we send our children to school. Literally, we send angels places every single day. We have a list on our phone that's like, we just call the host. So that type of stuff, as it comes to your memory, the stuff I've been teaching you are things that I feel God has been putting on my heart for now. Like, you've already learned it. It's stuff you already know. So as it comes to your memory, I really, so yes, I would. If somebody's camping, I personally would recommend them going home unless they want to be stuck. Okay. Bank accounts be frozen. I don't know. I don't think you'll have, I don't know. If we lose internet, it's a different story than if we don't. So if we lost internet, you would not, the reason I felt like coming out with the fact that you might, that's the first thing I wanted to announce was, don't be scared. First of all, stock up on this and don't be scared if we lose internet, because if I didn't know what was going on, I would have thought, oh gosh, is the power and, is electricity and water next? Like that type of thing. Another thing is, I actually believe that we will start getting messages from the emergency broadcast system. Should we lose, keep your phone charged up is what I'm trying to say to you. In fact, I saw on Twitter earlier that someone said they had already gotten the first message from the like they're testing it. But it was, I think I screen captured it. Nope, I didn't, but I bet my friend sent it to me because I think I saw that too. Just a second. Now I saw a screen capture of this, so it didn't actually come to me, so I can't completely verify it. Did you not send it to me? Oh, here we go. Maybe. If you want to dig deep, there are some videos out there that really helped us when we started. It's a YouTube channel called And We Know. I'll come back around to that presidential emergency broadcast system in a second. And We Know is the name of their YouTube channel. They decode gematria, which gematria is how Q speaks. It's all coded. Maybe I should explain really quick why QAnon exists, and just my understanding of it. I'll put it out there for layman's terms. I'm trying to think exactly how to start this. So I watched a Kim Clement video right after I learned about Q. And that's the prophet that I follow. I mean, you guys are going to literally be in line to be able to research this all so easy on your own, because I talk about this kind of stuff all the time without talking about it. But Kim Clement did a whole prophecy about who would be president. And at the end of the video, it was like they segmented another piece of a man at a podium. I can't remember who he was, talking about how he had gotten a phone call from some top security clearance generals in the military. who had planned what they call a coup d'etat, which is a coup, which is to take over a country basically from within. I think that's basically what that means. And they had decided to do that at the end of Obama's last term. Anyway, he said, but 3 weeks later, or something like that, those same generals called me back and said, it's called off. We found, Donald Trump agreed to run and do it from within. Okay. So the first 3 years, and you can see this is pretty documented. You can see he has taken the Department of Justice and turned it inside out and gotten corruption out of the Department of Justice. And the reason that's relevant is because in order to actually be able to prosecute people for their crimes and them not to be able to get off, you have to have a Department of Justice that's not crooked. Okay. So if you go back and look, the Department of Justice is where all of this turnover is happening, so that when these people are put on the chopping block for their crimes, they don't get off with like a light sentence because it's of crooked attorneys or whatever like that. Also, many of these people, if they are found guilty of treason, they will go to a military tribunal, which is different than a regular court system, and treason is punishable by execution. So all of this is like kind of out there, but that's what my understanding is. The reason the Q drops started happening, there's a really interesting video clip of President Trump and a whole line of generals next to him, he and Melania, and a room full, maybe in the Oval Office or something, and you hear the cameras in the background. And somebody says, he makes a joke about something, and somebody says, what was that? No. You know what this is? And they're like, what is this, sir? And he says, I don't know, maybe it's the calm before the storm. And they're like, what storm, sir? What storm? What storm? Well, all this Q movement, it started immediately following that. And it's dropping breadcrumbs for years now. It's been going on these forums on the internet, and they're encrypted. You can't understand it all. There is gematria, which is like literally taking the capital letters of a sentence, adding up their values, using letters as replacement for numbers. It's all this. I mean, it feels like almost that you're living inside a video game when you're trying to figure out what's going on. But the purpose of it was to avoid breaking national security laws, keep patriots calm as this all plays out, you know, because there's been corruption still going on all around us, and it seems like nothing's being done. So to keep patriots calm, and, you know, keep from having a literal like civil war, they started these encrypted messages that actually help people to understand, oh, something is going on, we just can't see it right now. That was them trying to keep from breaking national security laws. So they're dropping hints and not telling anything. It's all encoded. When I first started following it, I got very confused. I was like, I don't understand why it's like this. This doesn't make sense. But when I got on Twitter and started following people on Twitter, it became more evident. Okay, I'm going to read. I keep going back and forth. I'm going to read some of these questions. Okay, there's some more recommendations, vitamins and stuff. Good ideas. Yeah, okay. Yes, SA does equal Saudi Arabia in the Q forms. I also believe the virus is real, but I also believe that a part of the quarantine will avoid there being masses of people in one place, so that they can't attempt to do what they call false flags, or which would be things like what they do to distract, which would be school shootings, that kind of stuff. When I say they, I'm talking about what they refer to as the cabal or the deep state, which is kind of like a shadow government that puppets our puppets our politicians around, basically. Okay. So the virus is real. Release money. I do think the virus is real. I do think released by the deep state, and I do think yes, people are dying. I believe that POTUS knew that this was coming, and I believe that they just basically planned this all around this. He has access to, I can't remember what the law is called, that basically it's a national security type law that it'll come to me probably as I'm saying it, actually put
Patriot Act.
Yeah, the Patriot Act. Thank you. The Patriot Act, which actually allowed them to spy on everything that we do, but it also worked on them as well. So there was a guy, the first guy I ever saw a picture of when I started studying Q is a guy in an American flag. It's almost like he looks like he's at a 4th of July party. He's got a beer. His shirt looks like the top of a flag, and the pants look like the red, or one's the stars and one's the stripes. And I was like, I don't know who that guy is, but come to find out, he was working for the DNC. I think he worked for the DNC, and he actually got aggravated about what they did to Bernie, supposedly. Who knows, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure. And so he tapped into their email. He was a hacker and tapped into their email system and released all these emails over to WikiLeaks. You guys remember when there was all that stuff about WikiLeaks? He didn't know, or maybe he did, but apparently he didn't know that there was all this information in there that was code language. So DNC would be the Democratic National Convention. He was working towards getting Bernie the seat instead of Hillary. He was actually upset because he thought she got cheated, or he thought she cheated him out of it. And when he released these emails, he tapped into the DNC, which was pulling Hillary's emails amongst many others, and they found a lot of coded language that had to do with PORN and child trafficking, that kind of stuff. I know that there's kids around. So anyway, that kind of started it. The code words, you've probably heard of PIZZA, gate. I don't know how much of this would cause my video to not, show up on YouTube or whatever, so I'm not saying some of it. But that's basically part of how this all started. So when the whole huge thing erupted toward the end of the election about these emails, that's what that was about. Those emails were the ones in question. At the time, it would not have been safe to arrest anyone that was corrupt because of the Department of Justice being so corrupt. Okay. All right. Yes, Just Informed Talk is another YouTube, and you can find YouTube and Twitter. IPOT, In Pursuit of Truth, is a great one. Mark Taylor is probably, his videos about all of this stuff are, his videos, he's the reason I knew Trump was going to get elected, following his prophecies. Many of you know, I was trying not to be political during all that time, but I was hearing prophecies from people I trusted saying he is the wrecking ball. He's the one that's going to bust up the establishment and get corruption out of politics, which I know seems unlikely, but it's playing out. I agree about Praying Medic being a calming person. I am very calm right now, like unbelievably calm. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I actually am. Where is God in the Q plan? So I don't know exactly prophetically, like biblical prophecy, exactly where we're headed in all of this, but I see lots of connections, lots. And I honestly, all day long, every day, that's a question, not exactly how I word it in my head, but looking for the divine in the plan. Some of this stuff is literally unbelievable, that when they decode this stuff and you're looking at it, it's staring at you. It's like, that's where I think God is. Like all of it. If you've ever watched Kim Clement's prophecies about how all of this would unfold, not just him being elected, but so much of this stuff that is taking place, my heart has so much peace. And I've introduced you guys a long time ago to Kim Clement. That's one of the reasons that I did, but I grew to trust him when I went to one of his things myself, and he literally gave a prophecy about my brother and dad who had died. Well, my brother had just died and my dad had died just a little bit before. We were there on my brother's weekend of my brother's birthday, would have been his birthday, right after he had died. And I had never even been to anything like that before. Somebody had told me I should come, and it was a big church. We were not sitting in the line of sight or anything, but he basically just opened with saying, there's an open heaven. Ask God for what you want. Tonight there's an open heaven. That's basically how he worded it. And I just remembered thinking, all I could think, and I know everybody that was there was with me, all we could think is, but I just wish I knew why what happened to my brother happened. And it was like he was closing things down, had like done his last song. He's a prophet and a singer. He's passed away now, but anyway, right as he's closing things up, he says, God never has me look backwards. It's always forward. I never look backwards. But he said, for whatever reason, God is showing me something in the past, because there is a wife and mother here who has lost her husband and her son. And the thing that you need to know, and basically will give you the most comfort, regardless of your questions, is that your Jameses, and my dad and my brother are both James Lucas and James Leroy. And it was that your Jameses are both at the feet of Jesus. And so it was like, I was in the balcony, could have fallen out of the balcony. I'd never seen anything like that take place. Nobody even knew us there. We were in another town. It was bizarre. And from that point, I started following him and being amazed by what God is capable of that I never dreamed. And now, it's something I'm fully comfortable with now, but at the time I thought it was super weird, didn't understand it. Let's see. Yeah, okay, about 501c3s. Mark Taylor is your resource for that. It's a sticky topic, so I'll let you come to your own conclusion and ring my bell on that one. But do your homework on it. All right, hang on. Okay, the emergency alert said, be kind, responsible, respect social distancing of 6 feet, keep groups less than 10 people. That was the emergency alert that someone has screen captured. So possibly that's the first one that went out. I don't know. I hope he still has my phone number. He used to text me at the beginning of this. I'm just kidding. Y'all know that. Okay. Remind me who that is. VW. Can't think. It's going to come to me right as you send it to me. Okay. Here we go. Groups of at least 10 people. Okay. Oh, there we go. That's an answer, I think. Groups of at least 10 people, like 7 military intelligence, 3 non-military, watching out for, just answering who's Q. Watching out for us and working to take out those who are trying to keep us under their control. Good answer. What about some of the other things Q says, like time travel and aliens? So that would be something everyone should discern for themselves. I have a very strong opinion about it. But I think everybody, if you get into that deep into it and you want to, you want to I think that's something everybody has to discover for themselves. Okay. Yeah, Q promotes prayer, love, helping our neighbor, God winning, scripture, but we are at war, and Q is the leader. I kind of personally think that Trump himself is, sometimes somebody will sign off and say Q plus, and I think that's Trump himself talking, but can't prove that. Yeah, these are good things. Okay. Sorry, I'm catching up. Yeah, false flags. FF means false flags. 5 to 5 means loud and clear she's asking. I think that's what I think it means. I used to think it meant executive order, but then I changed my mind. It means loud and clear. True, Jay? Yeah. Okay.
In military terms, that's what it means.
Okay. That's what I thought. If martial law is implemented, will it be announced before going into effect? That I don't know. I don't know that they'll give a lot of warning since they've already been warning. Okay, this is a good question. What should we be most frightened about? I would not answer that with an affirmative, because I believe that we should be prayerful, and I'm not saying that as a correction. I'm just saying I'm going to reword that. We should be prayerful about unity. I think it's the number one thing. I believe that this will turn the world into something completely different, because it's only been a handful of days and it's already happening. People are, what I would say, slowing down, prioritizing, realizing. These are the things that have shocked me, not about myself, because I've known about this for 2 years. So I've already kind of gone into that mode. But I'm watching people go, whoa, 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 whoa. And then there was that initial panic of, no, they're not going to take the internet down. I'm not going to close schools. They won't. I mean, if you think of all the things that I could have listed 3 or 4 days ago, I think they're about to take the internet down. They might close schools. All the people will be like, and it's already happening. But it's causing people to pause and think. And to me, that's what we should be prayerful about and excited about. The frightening would be, you want to pray that people are not exposed to this virus. I think that's probably the most frightening aspect that's at hand right now. And I would do everything. If you're a rebel and you have to go out when the roads are not slick, and you just be like, well, I just need to run to the store for a minute. You need to calm down this time. I read a meme yesterday that said our grandparents went to war. People are just calling you to your couch. You can do this. Like, that's the way I feel about it. If anybody has anything to ask me about that, not you guys, but like people around here who have asked me, what are you thinking that? I'm like, if they put us on martial law right now already, I'm quarantined. Like, I'm not going out. I'm not going to be in big crowds. I think that would be extraordinarily foolish. Most excited about, I believe that there will be a financial reset. Maybe I'm pie in the sky dreaming, but that's what I believe based on what I've researched. It has to do with the Federal Reserve. And I believe that Kim Clement had a vision of 2023. I think one time it was 2023. And I think he also had one of 2027. And he was like, he has this gorgeous accent. He's like, it was like I didn't recognize the world. It was completely different. I'm talking new heaven and new earth different. And that's what I expect. I think that's exciting. And why did he call the virus a hoax at the beginning if he was in on it? I don't know why he did call it a hoax, except for I think he was probably letting you know that this is not a real. It's engineered. I don't mean that the scare is engineered. I mean the virus itself is engineered. Maybe that's what he's referring to.
And that there's more to it than just the
Yeah,
virus.
yeah. It's not
It's codes.
yeah, the intention behind it, the intention behind the virus. I'm not saying he was in on the virus. I think he knew that it could be a possibility, that something that the deep state would try.
I think, and also to keep the bad guys, the black hats that are watching,
Yeah.
off track.
Yeah.
Throw them off.
See, because if he's putting out coded messages to the world, I can remember a friend asking me, so you're saying he's talking in code and thinks the bad guys don't know what he's saying? And I'm like, oh no, that's where he actually got the code. He literally, whoever it is, he literally, what they call trolls. He trolls. He just puts stuff out there. He uses their own. They literally use gematria. He uses gematria. They literally, basically, that's why there's every now and then it'll say disinformation is necessary, because sometimes they'll put out something that's warning that someone might get arrested, and literally that person will scramble that week and give themselves away. It's been stuff like that over and over. Okay.
I was talking about the lady who was saying something about being scared. The only way I could describe it was to my mother. She called me in a panic. It's like, I have this overwhelmingly calm feeling that no, it's the Lord's in control, not Q, not whatever. We've got just the calm. Be prepared in case all this martial law stuff does happen. But it is a calm that I cannot even describe.
Yeah.
It is kind of odd, but yes, very, very calming to know that this is being handled. Military precision is the stuff that always gets me with the little stuff. Sorry.
And it's being handled supernaturally. Believe that.
Yes. I watched a video today that was talking about on the 20th that Donnie Clement, which is Kim Clement's daughter, and she runs his thing today. She runs his ministry today, is going to release some letters that he wrote to Trump before he died. And copies of them, I suppose, copies of these letters. And I think that'll be very telling too, because Kim Clement was scheduled to meet Trump the day before he announced his candidacy. And Kim actually got hospitalized that same day. And but I'm sure that whatever message he had for Trump had already got to him, because I mean, if you watch old Kim Clement videos all the way back to 2007, he was literally prophesying that about Trump becoming president someday, and what it was going to do for the world, literally the way it was going to impact the world. He was going to bring in somebody who was a wrecking ball to tear down the establishment. Oh, I can't remember what YouTube you're talking about, Carla. I forgot. I'm way behind. I'm catching up. All right, I'm getting caught up. I personally believe that Trump is an amazing patriot, and I know I get slapped on the hand for saying that in my posts, or not my posts. I don't ever post about it in my Zooms in the past. But the whole time I have felt this way based on information that I knew other people didn't have. So I personally, yes, think he's a good person. Becky, yes. I don't know in what all ways, but yes. Okay. QAnon codes deciphered. Yep, there you go. QAnon codes deciphered. That's a great thing. Hang on one second. Okay, This is a good question. A great question, because I think everyone is going to be dealing with this. She said, I'm trying to prevent exposure, but people in my house are being haphazard about coming and going. I was telling I was having a conversation with my friend today, and it was a similar situation where it was like people are making decisions based on their emotions because they want to, or they need to, they want to, like if they want to keep their candle store open. And it's like, are you kidding me? Okay, but it's to the point that they're not going to have an option. I think probably by tomorrow at midnight. That's a guess. It's a really good guess, though, I think. So I think a couple days ago I would have said, yeah, I know, I see that going on, I'm concerned about it, but I think we've done schools, we've done universities, I'm talking about public school, local schools, universities. I think we'll get down to grocery stores and hospitals for a little while, or roughly. Okay. Okay. I agree. I'm saying the same thing to the Sam's Club answer. I don't know about, I think they'll do it like they're doing it in Italy. I've probably covered some of this, and y'all were asking it before I realized. As a teacher, I hadn't thought about that particular thing. So I have a really strong feeling it's going to be a good 3 weeks before anybody's back in school again. And some of the schools, I believe, may shut down for the rest of the year. I don't know if it'll be because of the virus or because of all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. But I don't really know how to tell you to prepare as far as like going back to school and stuff. Okay.
All my non-homeschooling friends that are having a stroke,
Yes.
I'm like, go old school. Go back to Little House on the Prairie days. Read your kids a book. Give them a book. Sit on the couch and play a game of cards. Make sure they can add and subtract. This is not a big deal.
Did you see that meme that's floating around that said, all these kids who learn Common Core are about to learn how to carry the one?
Right.
I said, that's called common sense instead of Common Core. Oh my God. I would say I have raised 2 just amazing human beings who are now both officially adults, and we did it by unschooling. We literally let them figure out what they were into. We bought books. I mean, I'm not saying that in this 2-week window anybody needs to do this, but I let my kids read what they were interested in, because I knew if they were actually reading and actually retaining information, they would be picking up sentence structure and grammar, spelling, reading, comprehension, all in just reading a book. But you got to love to read. That's my whole premise behind homeschooling. Number 1, focus on priorities, whatever your priorities are in your household. Number 2, teach your kid to love to read rather than teach your kid to read. To love to read, the love of reading to me makes everything. I didn't learn to love to read until I was grown. Okay. I'm so far behind, sorry. I won't be surprised about the oil field if it closes up. Yeah. I think all factories and stuff will get shut down tomorrow, big places. I hate to advise anybody about whether to pay their bills or hang on to their money. I hate to make that one cloud statement, because I think it probably would be dependent on what your bills are, how often they come out, how much your minimum payment was. Maybe if you have something that's coming up in the next little bit that you could be a little late on, and it wouldn't cause you major problems, and you're needing to hang on that money, I'm not going to have anybody get a cutoff notice. I don't think that would be a problem anyway, but I'm trying not to give too broad stroke advice here, but oh, I'm not as far behind as I thought. But gosh, it looks like I have a whole bunch of message, but I think I just said the Common Core joke. So, okay, hang on. Classes at home and possibly sharing. Yes, I love it. Oh, I'm at the bottom. Okay, so work at a credit union and starting tomorrow, I'll be closing the lobby, but leave the drive-through open. Okay, that is the kind of stuff that I see like being the next step. I hadn't thought of that example, but that's a perfect example because a credit union and a bank, some of these places are going to have to hang in there. I also just asked my mailman friend, who he didn't tell me if I could say that he answered me, but I said, does the mail keep running? And his answer was, I have always heard the mail will run always, no matter what. And I think he's definitely someone who would know by now. So that doesn't mean that the facility you want something from is going to be able to get it to you or have staff to get stuff out the door. But I'm saying if you have stuff that you have ordered, apparently it will get to you. Still fully open. Okay. Yes, I think domestic travel, a bunch of it already has shut down. And oh wait, no, domestic travel. Sorry. Yeah, I do. Domestic travel. Hold just 1 second. I gotta grab something. Be right back.
While she's grabbing, I'm worried. My concern is about, like, where I live. It's really not a good idea to have a mailbox at your house because people like to relieve you of your mail. And so I have a post office box and have had for 25 or more years. So my Plexus order will process tomorrow, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it because I have to leave my house and go to the post office in order to pick it up. So that is a big concern of mine.
Okay, I heard that. So I may have a pipe dream. It may just be a pipe dream in my head thinking that what I'm about to say is true, but I believe that they will establish some sort of neighborhood rules, like where, like that in that type of case, there would be somebody that can either escort you or go get something for you, that kind of thing. I don't think I'm just making that up. I've definitely read that. I don't remember the source, but it stuck with me. Maybe what they're doing in Italy. That may be why.
And that makes sense, I think.
Yeah. I would definitely, if you're going to place an order, I would definitely do it tonight or tomorrow, first thing tomorrow. I would really consider doing it tonight. Okay, so domestic.
Lori, is there a way to do the like overnight shipping on a subscription in the back office?
I don't know. I
Trying
don't.
to expedite it.
Nobody knows for sure. Those are always the questions that I don't know for sure.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I think one of the questions that I keep getting the most is people who are Christians saying, what about, they keep saying it's going to be churches and da da da. They're more worried that it's churches instead of the vile other stuff that's going on that may be caught up in it. What is a soothing answer? Because I mean, I don't know who all is going to come out either in the.
Oh, you mean in the scandal?
Sweeping.
In the
Yeah,
scandal. Okay. Yeah. I can only share with you what I believe, and I deeply believe that I'm not talking about maybe and maybe not your little country church. I'm talking about from the head down, and lots of denominations. There probably will be scandal, is what I'm going to say, and there will probably be. I don't believe that we will see any of it that doesn't have really ridiculous, strong evidence. Like, I don't think they're going to be like, I heard it'll be like misuse of funds. That would, and child. Yeah. I do really really strongly believe, and those of you who have followed me for a long time know that I've been kind of pulling you out of this if you follow me, and pulling you out of this if you follow me, without saying. Yeah, I would not be going anywhere. I'm gonna tell you right now, hunker down, let a couple of weeks pass. I believe when he said 30 days the other day, that I believe his intention was 30 days from the day he said it would be 4/10/20, which is in gematria DJT, which is his initials. And I believe,
Isn't it Good Friday also? So
and
It's also Good Friday.
And Easter
and they have
Sunday.
been predicting that by Good Friday, it was going to be a Good Friday, and that is Good Friday.
And dark to light.
By the way, his initials, when you look at his whole lifetime in gematria, Troy Brewer months ago did a whole thing about his birthday, how old he was when he became the president, all this. He's from Burleson, Texas, and has a church, and is telling us, like, literally all the stars aligned for him to be born at a certain time, to be president at a certain age, and all these sevens. His life is filled with sevens. And when you start looking at those aspects of things, you think, that is crazy. Like, to think that, when you think that in the big scheme of things, that even all the way down to his initials lining up in gematria with a date, I believe that something very significant will happen on that day, because he won't be that the next year at 4/10. It won't be DJT, it'll be DJU. You see what I'm saying? No, yeah, that's right. Now, the number 17 is another QAnon number. It's for Q, same letter. When you look at the alphabet A to Z, you get 1 to 26. That's simple gematria. There are other kinds of gematria that I'm not real sure how to follow exactly. There are gematria calculators. I'm going to tell you, so that when you're watching some of this stuff and you're like, what in the world? Some of the stuff I didn't understand in the beginning is that they literally may use the Q post number 2235. And then POTUS may actually post something on Twitter at military time 2235 on any given day, right? And if what he says lines up with, say, something over here like Saudi Arabia in the Q drop, I'm just making numbers up here, I'm not referencing actual Q drops, but if his timestamp on his tweets literally line up with Q posts lots of times, and it makes the whole thing really come to life when you start realizing that. Even the size of an image, this many pixels by this many, or however they say it, lots of times they'll even use that. Don't expect to, I mean, maybe one of you would be that smart, but don't expect to figure it out all by yourself. I had to be on Twitter to figure it out. And recently I'm going to give you a little run back of the things that have happened in the last few weeks. God called my friend and I to go pray over our state line. Okay. Literally blow a shofar on our state line. Y'all got so many people on here. I don't know who's listening to me, but I don't care anymore. I really couldn't, when you hear the phrase couldn't care less, that is like stamped on my forehead right now. So we literally, we went and did that week before Valentine's Day. You've stayed caught up with the whole neon moon thing, and you've stayed caught up with several other of the adventures that my friend have had praying over our town. I believe pray over your railroads. I believe there's corruption on the railroads. Pray over your cargo type planes, anything in and out. Pray over your region. If you hold ownership in a region, a county, a state, if you pay into the financial system in any way, like paying taxes, then you have ownership in that, and you can literally claim it as, claim this kingdom, claim this region for the kingdom of heaven. We have been doing that since last February over our entire town, all over the place. God calls us to all these different places, and often after we've prayed somewhere, stuff shakes down. It's like real. It's very legit, so to speak. So, oh, okay. So I'm hearing reports that Facebook's algorithm is down right now. Remember earlier today, Google, Google's censorship was down. Right now, somebody just reported to me. Oh, wait. Yeah, buddy. Hang on. I'm going to see, make sure that's what this is saying. I think so. You know, for a long time, if you posted something about vaccines, your anything, you know, your account would maybe get warned or suspended or whatever. That's censorship, basically, where when one side of any topic can or can't share their opinion about something, that's censorship. Earlier today, Google, for a window of time, the censorship was turned off. Where so if you Googled a controversial topic, lots of stuff would come up where in the past it hasn't been. Yeah, exactly. Facebook. Yeah, censorship was lifted is what it says. I would say that either means one of two things from my experience. That means either what they would say is patriots are now in control, which is PANIC, panic. Patriots are now in control. I would say either that's the case or somebody has hacked it for a minute and they're letting us see something. Earlier when it happened with Google, I wasn't sure which way it was. If it was somebody who hacked into it and let people see for a while what all is out there and kept the censorship down, or you know, I think it's very recently that somebody, one of Trump's billionaire friends bought enough stock in Twitter to be a majority holder or something like that. This is the kind of stuff that I go, I don't really know what that means, but that's how I understood it. And oh wow, yeah, Trump said that Google was working with us now, called and apologized. That's right.
Did you see him flick the paperwork showing that they called and apologized and you like that?
Like that. I wondered well, that's exactly when we turned it on.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I will tell you, if he's ever really completely made you so mad or want to kill him or like infuriated you, once you start following this, I don't know how this works, but the stuff that he does becomes adorable because you know the backstory. It's the most bizarre how you're like, you know, you may have that one uncle that's
kind of like you're fired.
Yeah, yes. So how you might have that one uncle who is sort of a douchebag, but if your family really needed him, he would show up with, you know, like the daggers and like, what, I'll take you down, right? Sorta. And I would never call him a douchebag. I'm just saying, I would never. But I'm saying, I know that's how a lot of people who don't really understand yet have viewed him in the past. And I understood that. That's why I never argued with people.
It's like the Jerome Corsi you're talking about at the end of the Kim Clement thing.
Thank you.
Jerome Corsi, he said they did the generals didn't ask him because he was perfect, or that is not why he was talked to. That's not why he's going to be voted in. That was way back in 15 or whatever it was. But once you know and you follow all this stuff, you start going, Big Daddy's got our back.
Yes. Hey, do you know where that video is?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get it.
Okay, that would be awesome because I did not know. I couldn't think of the guy's name. That was one of the first things I saw when I started following Q, and it sucked me right in. I was like, oh my gosh. That being said, I thought I would give you guys maybe a little bit more insight into a background my personal story leading up to this, it's simple. I'm going to just bracket it for you because most of you already know these stories. I won't have to go into the stories. I'm just going to give you a boom, 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 boom. So before the Washington, D.C. leaders retreat, I had voted one time in my life, not just for president, but for anybody. Never voted. I voted one time when I was like 18 for Ross Perot. Okay, so that's how much I knew about. You too? Okay. That's how much I knew about politics. I didn't even know I was wasting my vote. I even argued with my grandma. I was like, I think everybody loves him and I think he's going to win, right? Okay, that's how much I knew. And from that point on, I was like, it's stupid. That's how I felt about it. I was like, I don't understand the college thing, with the electoral college. I don't understand any of that. And it wasn't until the day that I announced that I was going to do a prayer walk in Washington, D.C., people started flooding me with information prophetically. Like nobody knew at that time that Donald Trump was going to get the Republican nomination. Okay. So fast forwarding and just say this, people flooded me with information about, okay, God is showing me this. And then they would send me, oh, I'm about to get chills thinking about this. One morning I woke up, 3 different people had sent me the same random video. And this was not a Q thing. Like God told me to send you this. And it was that these are the days of Elijah video. And it was the military, y'all. It was the military in a lunch hall, like a mess hall, standing up like the song is on the whiteboard or whatever, and they are like with their arms around each other singing it like a Sunday school class. And it would say, behold, he comes riding on the clouds, shining like the sun when the trumpet calls. So lift your voice, hoo-ha, however they say that. It's the year of Jubilee. Out of Zion's hill, salvation comes. And I'm like, I don't get it. They didn't get it either. The people sending it to me, they're like, I don't know why I'm supposed to send this to you, but I got chills that day. And I just got them again because I just now realized the military aspect of that. Like, all 3 people send me a video of, and it wasn't a current video. It wasn't a current song. And I'm like, what is going on? So here's what I do. I'm going to check to see if these people know each other. The 3 people that sent it to me, I know they live in different states, but if they are friends, then they're in a messenger chat with each other or something, and they all thought of it at the same time, right? And, you know, that's what I thought. Nope, there's no connection between these 3 people. And that's when I started telling Jetty, O-M. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know what we're supposed to do in Washington, D.C., but it's something. And those of you who know me well, you know how ramped up I was. Like, I thought I was going to levitate. There was so much that happened around that time. Kind of like what's going on now, that kind of like that level. Fast forward through that. We do the prayer walk, and I'm told a very prophetic message, like on my way to the prayer walk. There can be no, oh my gosh, I always think of this word. There can be no basic bias. People have to pray with no bias. It wasn't bias. Basically, they have to pray for God's will. You have to tell everyone there. Keep in mind, Trump was not our candidate yet. It was just like, yeah, what are the odds that Donald Trump would become? Oh, no, yes. Oh my gosh, my sweet girl. Can I tell that? I'm just going to take a picture of that. Okay. I have a dream to tell you about a white dress that I had this week. Crystal's little girl, she said she can see an angel standing in front of my door with a white dress and blonde hair that's to her hips. And y'all know, for those of you who have been on these calls, you know, I had a dream this week. Actually, me and my friend both had dreams this week about wearing white dresses. I'll have to go listen to it again and remind myself exactly what it was. It was me wearing the white dress. It was her in her dream. Oh my goodness. So, okay, moving forward from the prayer walk, telling everybody you can't have an agenda. That's the word I was looking for. No agenda. You can't have an agenda. It's super important. I didn't even know what I was saying at the time, you guys. I'd never voted, right? So I don't even know what I'm telling people. This is 2015. Would that be right? Yeah, October 2015. We do the prayer walk. Literally the next month, he's announced the candidate. Okay, so this is my part in, I'm just telling my story, my perspective. Fast forward through that. Mark Taylor, I get introduced to Mark Taylor and all his prophecies, and I start telling my mom, well, Donald Trump's going to win. And she's like, yeah, I already talked to her other reliable source. We have a family member who knows everything, right? And I already talked to so-and-so. He said, ain't no way. And I was like, I have a better and more reliable source. And she's like, okay. Well, we kind of joked about it all the way through. And sure enough, all the stuff that I read that Mark Taylor had said about him, and this guy named Lance Wallnau, he was mentioned in the Kim Clement video that I watched this morning. Basically, Kim Clement was coming to give Trump a word the day before, a prophetic word from the Lord. And Lance Wallnau was at the airport to pick him up. And Lance Wallnau tells this story also. He's like, I didn't know why he didn't show up. He got hospitalized. And when he was waiting on him, he's like, I'm not prophetic. I don't get prophetic words. He said, but all of a sudden I hear God say, I'm raising Trump up as a trumpet. He will be a wrecking ball to the establishment with a Cyrus anointing. And basically he heard this, and it's the first time it ever happened to him. And he's like, I don't know what that means. He's like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but he said, I guess this is what happens when someone is about to meet Kim Clement, who is probably the most famous prophet that's lived in my lifetime that I would remember, basically, Kim Clement. Well, as he was actually putting, how do I say this? When Trump, I'm trying to back up and figure out the most concise way to tell this. So Kim Clement was supposed to meet with Trump. Lance Wallnau was supposed to pick him up. And Lance Wallnau actually has written a book now called God's Chaos Candidate, I think. Pretty sure that's what it's called. That got me interested in Lance Wallnau. And I heard of a thing that was going on in Dallas, a ladies thing, and you guys will remember this story. It was a ladies thing, Christian entrepreneurs. Jan Greenway was one of the speakers. Patricia King was one of the speakers, and Annabelle Wallnau. Annabelle Wallnau is Lance's wife. So I wanted to go because of Annabelle Wallnau. I wanted to see what she had to say. While I was there, I met Joan Hunter. That's where I started. I was like, I think I'm a healer. That's that weekend. That's what happened. Annabelle Wallnau was super amazing, but there was a prophecy spoken over me that day about Easter eggs. You guys remember Easter eggs? I was coming out my door with an Easter basket, and she's like, and there's going to be eggs everywhere. They're going to be so easy to find. Also, at that same time, I had that vision of that looked like runway lights coming out of Jetty's chest that said April. Y'all remember that? Those of you who've been around for a long time, that was all around the same time. And every year in April, I think it must mean this. And now I'm like, yeah, all of this. The Easter eggs, the stuff being easier to find and understand, everything making sense, the month of April, all of it. And especially with Good Friday falling on Trump, on the gematria for Trump. I started to say Trump's birthday. On the gematria for Trump. So that's a little bit also leading up to how I really learned to trust all of this information. A lot of it came to me prophetically, and now dreams and stuff come prophetically. And you guys know recently, even the whole Catherine Kuhlman stuff, even recently. I mean, we're about to have a revival that we won't even call it a revival, because I think revival means go back and do something you've tried before. And this is one, I don't think this is going to look like that. Y'all know my stadium vision that I've had and all of that. I think, I have no doubt that's where we're headed. I think that's what to be excited about. Okay. Yeah, the last Trump, at the last Trump, there's a lot of biblical reference to this if you want to go there. I would personally think that there's a possibility that the last Trump is his son, his youngest son, personally. That, isn't it, Jerry, it's so weird. What's weird is Jerry and I have not talked in months, really, to speak of. And before last week's call, I don't know, we started talking just for a second on Messenger, and I had no idea that she follows all this. But then I outed myself. I was on Twitter. I'm on Twitter as my own name. And she's like, I saw you on Twitter. I had commented on something she was reading, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then now we're sitting here, and she basically agrees with me on pretty much, so far it looks like you've agreed with me on everything. That's wild. Because you basically have to be kind of like incognito when you're doing all this stuff.
And I feel like I guess the strangest, but not strangest, you know, that the word that we always hate, that I love the weirdness of you, because I feel like that hits me.
Yep.
But I feel like there is such a bigger spiritual, supernatural, Becky, that's for you, supernatural thing that it's so much bigger than we can even fathom.
I think so too.
Completely just, and that's why I'm so surprised that I'm calm. And I literally have saved videos. I did send you those. I sent you the Jerome Corsi, the whole interview, and then I sent it with the Kim Clement at the beginning, and then at the end he is there. Okay. But I've saved all these videos for my husband, because he don't want to know, and he had no idea. And like this week, I had to red pill him like on the download quickly. I was like, because I just need you to look at me and say, I am so calm. Breast cancer didn't stress. This is not stressing me. This is like, I feel happy. Like, I can't wait to see. Okay, it's going to be hard these next couple of weeks or whatever.
Right.
But on the outcome, it's going to be, whoa. That's how I feel right now.
I think I'm going to show that video if you guys are down to give me about 10 minutes. It's worth your time. It's what really woke me up. Let me
prepare for goosebumps.
Yeah, prepare for goosebumps was right. All right, hang on. I'm going to get it pulled up before. Oh, hang on. Before I share screen with everybody, because I've got messages popping up everywhere.
Are you tired of the media spinning the truth and pushing false narratives? Well, take a look at this. Over the last 3 years, while the establishment media was pushing false narratives and uncorroborated evidence, we investigated and shed light on some of the deepest government corruption in this nation. Something that makes water.
That was an ad. Here we go.
The vision of wickedness and impending danger is due to some device hidden in a place unknown to the present intelligence. That's what I have to tell you.
We'll start it over. I promise I know what I'm doing. I'm just acting like I don't. Let me escape out of that. Here we go. It's because I have two different browsers up because I've been doing stuff all day. Here we go for real. All right. Okay, again, Kim Clement, he's the one that told in this huge group of people that your two Jameses are at the feet of Jesus. And there's a wife and mother, da, da, da. This is how I was introduced to him in 2006.
vision of wickedness and impending danger is due to some device hidden in a place unknown to the present intelligence. That's what I have to tell you. And maybe even ignored. In other words, oh, that's not important. This weapon is in a human mind. And the weapon that is in this human mind came to me when I saw some alphabetical letters. I saw some letters. At first, I thought it was A to Z. Now, this is a puzzle to me right now. But God almost said to me, focus on this so that the mystery can be unfolded. The letters were A and Q.
QAnon.
That's all I saw. And he said, that's where it's at. Then I saw Russia, I saw Pakistan, and I saw a connection. That's all I saw there. And I remember that, but I didn't say it. That's important for you to take note of. Go out there and research. Sunil's going to as well. The vision of fire and water. Now, I was absolutely surrounded by evil. And I felt as Daniel did, praying for his people. Now, let me just tell you what Daniel said. He said, while I was praying, the man Gabriel, I remember Gabriel was one of the most powerful angels, whom I'd seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly. Now, you think about God and time. Why would God need an angel to move rapidly? Because men have power to control things that happen on the earth, because God put man on the earth. So when things happen, they can retard it, they can slow it down, or they can hasten it. And so the angel was caused to fly swiftly. That's what Daniel says. And it reached me about the time of the evening offering. And I want you to get this, because it's so few people realize and understand the power of the evening offering. Because he says the angel arrived and got to me about the time of the evening offering. I was standing in my garden. Suddenly, Spirit came, removed from my eyes scales. I was praying for America and I was praying for Israel. Nothing unusual. Suddenly behind me, starting behind my back, going in the form of an arrow, were hundreds of thousands of people. And I turned around and I was stunned at what I saw. This was not just a mere dream, but this was a vision. And so I raised my hand like this, and every one of them raised their hands. I looked back and they were doing the same thing. I shouted, and they all shouted. They were one. They were one. One party. One party of people. It continued until I realized that the unity of these, amongst them stood one that God had set aside to be the leader of this nation. I couldn't quite see his face because that was not allowed, because there was a mist that covered all the people and he was amongst them. And the Spirit of God made me look at him, and he said, this man will throttle the enemies of Israel. This man will throttle the enemies of the West. And there are highly embarrassing moments that are about to occur for many, many politicians in this nation. There will be a shaking amongst the Democrats in the upcoming elections, but unsettling for the Republicans. Why is God doing this? For God said, I am dissatisfied with what emerges from both parties. And then there is a nation, he showed me, took me, itching for a new kind of war with America.
Woo.
They will shout, impeach, impeach, they say. But nay. This nation shall come very subtly. But he shall not come in the time of President Obama. They shall come when this new one arises, my David, that I have set aside for this nation. They shall say, what is your plan for this giant? And he will take a simple stone, remember the name, and he will hold it up and they will laugh at him. But the plan is so brilliant, says the Lord. It could only have been given by me. Come on! They will shout, impeach, impeach. But this shall not happen. And then God says, highly embarrassing moments when another Snowden arises. And people will become very afraid. They'll say, we have no protection. And God says, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with the strength of your intellect? I have said I will bring this nation to its knees. And God said, you have been humbled. And yet some more. And then you shall hear the sounds of great victory. For where are the people gathered? Where are my people gathered? Where is the sound of unity from my people? I want you to out here, all the thousands watching all over the world. Just for about 30 seconds, raise up your voice and shout. God says, once you recognize the man that I have raised up, pray. For the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. Did anybody hear what he just said? The hands of once compassionate women have cooked their own children. And their children have become food for them. Your children have become food for who are once compassionate women. Your children will no longer be your food. You shall not use them and take them out of the womb anymore, says the Lord. Watch how I change everything, for there shall be those who are in justice. Those who are in a strong position. I'm just hearing this now. In the highest court in the land, the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, two shall step down for the embarrassment of what shall take place. But I wish to place in the highest court in the land righteousness. They shall attempt to put others in to endeavor, to reach their endeavors. But God says, hear me tonight. Hear me today. I have this whole thing planned out. But I became aware of extreme heat and danger My body was overwhelmed by it was like radiance and fire. And fear struck me for the first time. And that's when I said, it's okay. Because it's almost like I was trying to tell somebody that was in this vision. But fear struck me for the first time. Was this nuclear? Was this atomic? What was this that I was feeling? Was I interceding on behalf of Israel and America? I believe I was, first of all. But at that point, there were multiple visions. The question seemed to arise constantly. Armageddon, the slaughter of humanity, an atomic war no one wanted, but which no one had the wisdom to avoid. Now, I need to say that to you again, and I want you to listen to it, because this is what I heard. Armageddon, the slaughter of humanity, an atomic war no one wanted, but which no one had the wisdom to avoid. What were we to pray for? For wisdom. Now I have said, go back, for this shall be dismantled, so that there will be no more corruption in the White House. Donald Trump wasn't elected because he was a saint. Donald Trump was elected because he believes in the Constitution. He didn't have to do this job. I wanted you to know that about 3 years ago, and this I'd like everybody to kind of hear, even in the back. About 3 years ago, a group of generals came to me, and it was explained to me they were ready to conduct a coup d'etat. They're ready to move Barack Obama from office, military force. And then a few weeks later, I got another call and said that they were reconsidering. You know why they were reconsidering? Because they talked to Donald Trump. And Trump agreed that he would run. And they agreed if he would run, they would conduct their coup d'etat as a legitimate process, rooting out the traitors within government. And that pact between the military and Donald Trump has held. QAnon is military intelligence and close to Trump. And the intelligence we're getting really is a lot of the inside script. Now, everybody says Donald Trump is going to lose. He's going to be out of office. He's going to be impeached. You watch CNN, MSNBC, they're throwing a party today, and all the 20 people watching them across the nation are very enthused. Donald Trump will not be removed from office. We've known him for decades. I said Donald Trump always looks like he's going to lose until just before he wins.
Okay, so that was your persuasive propaganda for the evening. I know that if you maybe don't have the belief in prophecy, or maybe not that specific prophet like I do, you might be less encouraged. I've seen the man at work and seen many of his prophecies, like every one of them that I know how to look up to see whether they have come true or not, have been true. So there's that. Yeah, it is almost too much to believe. I was going to tell you what coup d'etat was removing. That would have been removing a sitting president from office, military style. And it would have, I mean, you can imagine what the political climate was back then. It would have literally caused, a civil war of some sort. It would have been our country against our country, and it would have been guns. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it had come to because of all the corruption, so to speak. That's basically what, there were a few good guys in the military. I think there are lots of good guys, but I'm saying there were a few good guys up in the higher ranks who believed that our country could be better if there was not so much corruption, and they believed that we were headed to, I would say, all the scary things that you imagine when you think of the end of the world is what we were headed to, not the good things that you imagine. And so when I think of him now, a patriot today asked me, who's been following this for a long time, just like I have, she said, do you ever get scared that we're wrong about what we believe about it all? And I said, well, I can tell you this much. If we find out he's one of the bad guys too, we've been screwed all along. I mean, we would have been screwed both ways, big time. So it's hope. It's major hope. And it's backed by lots of prophecy. Lana Vauser prophesied that he would be president. I mean, anyway, I did not mean I don't ever mean for a Plexus thing to be political, but I think the majority of you didn't get on here for Plexus tonight. For those of you who wish I had told you, some of you I might have tried to. Some of you I didn't know if I should or not. And so I didn't, honestly, when you don't know that you're right about something until I gave my family a 2 days heads up, and I gave the internet a 4 days heads up, a 4 hour, once I knew what was up. And I didn't give it on my Facebook wall. I put it in my groups where you guys are. Because, I knew I was risking looking crazy anyway, but I knew what was coming. And I only knew it from decoding what I had figured out. So, and like I said, I think the next thing is potentially martial law. I'm not certain that it'll get that far, but I have a feeling it probably will. Would y'all like to watch a short little 3-minute video that gave me some perspective on the whole emergency broadcast system and where Trump would be during all this coming up? Would you guys like to see that?
Yeah. Hey, Lori,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interject. I just pulled something up, and it said the Irish Prime Minister, he just gave a speech, and he said, literally in his speech, this is the calm before the storm.
I would say that most people would disagree with the whole calm. People don't seem very calm. Well, actually, what's weird is people are talking about it a lot on social media, but I don't know. Are you guys calm? Is anybody that's on here flipping out? Not really. Okay, I would say the calm before the storm. Then that's a big Q proof. It's a Q drop that was from a long time ago. The calm before the storm. What was I about to show you guys? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to, George, the newspaper that used to be run by JFK Jr. They have a YouTube channel that's worth following. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can find. This is it's very coded, I think. This is the only place I've seen it. Let me do an actual share. I messed that up a minute ago. This is just how I believe. This is preface leading up to where we're headed. I think he will be on Air Force One when all of this, maybe the mass arrests take place. Oh, looky there.
Tonight, the president will give his agenda. White House aides say the address will have a theme of unity. Former candidate.
And up next, we're going to take a look at what the president might say about trade and the economy. From Washington.
In the 20th century, America saved freedom. Down to it, there's nothing anywhere in the world that can compete with America.
I don't know why that gave me such chills this week, but I was like, literally lock them and load them, put them on the airplane. Here we go. That's why people don't need to be out in public. Even
Car
the
that
president.
puts us in control. And we want a car that appeals to our senses, one that fits our taste and lifestyle.
Another video started. I was like, I thought somebody else was talking to me. It was a video. Jetty said you couldn't hear the video very well. I'm sorry for that. That was probably the best part of it. It was like watching Lee Greenwood sing without hearing him, right? That'd be terrible. I will tell you about one Q post I know, just to plant a seed of curiosity in you. I may be the only person on the planet who has figured this out. I hadn't seen it on Twitter, but I'm not going to say that that's necessarily true. But there is a Q post out there from a while back that is a picture of Donald Trump and John F. Kennedy Jr. Whatever the number on that Q post is, like if it's Q post 2089, I don't know what it is. I can't remember. That's not as relevant as what I'm about to tell you. If you take the date 4/10/20, which is Donald J. Trump, Good Friday, and the date, I don't have any proof that this day is going to mean anything yet anyway. So you'll have me on record as saying this. And you go back the number of weeks as what that number of that post is, what that Q post is. If you take the 4/10/20 and go back 2089 weeks or whatever, however many weeks it is, you land on the day that John F. Kennedy Jr. supposedly died. And they knew in advance that many weeks to post a picture with John F. Kennedy Jr. For the math to fall where that Q post was that much distance between. I'm planting that as a seed of curiosity. That's the only seed I probably will plant as far as all that goes. But hang on a second. I have a couple things to address in the comments, and then we will. Okay. I'm hoping that this is calming for everyone and exciting rather than, I hope it feels more calm since everybody probably has been a little panicked. I'm trying to find from Elena about I'm going to say Alina's name wrong. Is it Alina or Lena? I think I always say it the wrong way. Can you copy it for me?
Alina.
I thought it was. Can you put it for me again? For me. Can you copy it for me? Not you, Alina. I'm sorry, but the person who's telling me. Somebody could see an angel with you. She could see an angel with you. Elena, which is Crystal's daughter. Huh? Yeah, Elena, which is Crystal's daughter, who can see angels, she sees three angels around you and your daughter. So I just thought you would want to know that. I think that's pretty cool.
What do they look like?
What do they look like? I'm not the one that sees them, so I'll have to ask that question and see what they say. Wait, just hold on, horses. Okay, to the B&B. What are you talking about? Jerry, you said, Lord, people come to the B&B. What made you say that?
Just that's the way I'm feeling about it.
The B&B, what are you calling that?
Christia had said something about, I was saying praying for provisions for someone who it didn't have a name, that said they had been laid off for 3 weeks. And I prayed for provisions, and Christia agreed with me. And she said people are starting to, I guess, cancel reservations. And I just, in my spirit, I was like, no, we're not going to have that. It might be slow for 3 weeks, but I just felt like the Lord, praying for the B&B to be like, if we build it, they will come. Field of Dreams. It's coming. Don't worry about it. It's coming.
I believe.
Yeah,
wow.
Me too.
I was like, what is happening? What am I reading?
Yeah, well, I was telling her I have people canceling as we speak.
Yeah.
You know, saying I can't come, you know, due to all this going on, blah, blah, blah. So, I totally get it. And I believe God's my provider, not my customers.
Yes.
And Lori, you know the post you put on Facebook the other day about community people coming together and borrowing an egg from each other.
Yeah.
Well, I read that to my husband, and he, after it was like 4 or 5 hours later, he was talking to a worker, talking about work the next day, because they've had to change their plans every day. Like, are we working? Are we not working? Are we having a safety meeting? Are we not? So I hear him saying, well, Jerry was telling me earlier, she was reading, and he said, we've all got to get back to saying hello to our neighbor or the community of, can I borrow? Like, I would literally run to the store before I go next door and ask for an egg. Do you know what I mean? But,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I heard him repeating. I was like, you do listen.
Good. Okay,
as
so
as a former Uber driver, I gotta say my heart really goes out to these people, because they depend on their money daily, by the day. So every day they're shut down is a day they don't get to pay their bills. And I mean, there are lots and lots and lots of people to pray for, but that's a big one, I think.
I believe that there's going to be, he's already releasing lots of relief. Also, if he's going to do what Isaac Cappy said in 1221, take it away, and actually take away Epstein Island's assets and take away Oprah's assets or whoever else, I don't know who he might implicate, but there might be lists all over the place if you want to see. I believe that there will be money coming from all over the place. I think we even probably have arrangements with other countries. I think we are in I think he has literally had to do a tour. You know how often he's gone? I'm telling you what, I like him so much now that I watched a video that was just repeated clips of him exiting Air Force One in the middle of the night coming home. It was one after another. He's just getting off and somebody be out there filming him, like the press out there filming him, in the helicopter or Air Force One, in different ones. It was different instances. And he's getting off in the middle of the night and he's telling the press people, good night, good night. It was one after another. And because I know all the background of what he's been doing when he goes over to these other countries and making deals with them, I just sat there and cried, because I'm like, I can't imagine somebody giving their life away like that. He gave away his life, literally. Like, he's like, I guess I'll just give up everything I know. And if you watch old videos of him back in the 80s and 90s talking about if he would ever run for president, those are very persuasive as well. Watching him talk about, I don't think I ever would. I hope that I would never have to. I hope someone else would step up and do it. But I see so much corruption. I see so much so on, so forth, so on and so forth.
Christy, Lori, I keep feeling, or I hear provision in my spirit right now, and it's not just for you. And I also keep hearing the word abundance.
Yep.
Abundance, not provision. It's not provision, because that's just getting by.
Yes.
It's abundance. It's abundance. Provision's going to get you by, but then the field of dreams is going to give you the abundance that the Lord has promised.
Oh my gosh, you keep saying that. I'm just like, yes. Okay, I will tell you this too. The Schumann resonance is something you might want to Google. It is literally the vibration of the earth at any given time. The vibration's coming off of the earth. And like 2 nights ago, I woke up with my heart just boom, 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 pounding out of my chest. And like I was going to, it was like it was an exciting feeling. And I go to the bathroom, I come back through my room, and I pick my phone up. I look on Twitter. I'm like, wonder what's going on. It felt atmospheric. And the Schumann resonance was through the roof. And unity and gratitude and love, that's what causes the Schumann resonance to actually peak. It's like, I know it sounds crazy. It's science though. So it's not even.
Did you, okay, when was this? Because do you remember me telling you about like I kept feeling like the earth was shaking. I would wake up and I would think, is that an earthquake? So it had stopped. And then last night I was like, what is that? It's back. I was like, I'm feeling it again. Nobody feels it. But you know,
they call it a whiteout. They call it a whiteout. And there are people that I follow who have been prophetic people, I'll just put it like that, who have been translating some of this stuff into scripture. One lady said that the Schumann resonance is likened to wrapped in linen or white. They were like, the scriptures, I hope y'all are following me here, the scriptures that talk about white linen or clothed in white linen, it's talking about the Schumann resonance. I watched this resonance. I've heard, am I saying residence every time? It's resonance. They're basically, it would be something worth looking up because I did it several weeks ago. I thought it was super interesting to think of that unity, Christ consciousness. You guys always seem to understand what I mean and don't think I'm being a pagan when I say, like, from the movie Elf at the end, the Christmas spirit, and that causes the sleigh to fly. That's the type of imagery I get when I think about collectively people coming together, helping one another. I have talked repeatedly, I've told the story about reading something or watching a video one time where a person was talking about what makes people strangers is dependent upon where they are and what's going on. For example, if you were in the same supermarket with a person, you might not speak to them at all, but that same person could be in another state. If you were in that state and if they were wearing an OU cap, you might be like, hey, okay, OU would be for me, like Oklahoma. That would be like, oh yeah, we probably know some people, we'll talk, right? That person that you saw in the grocery store is suddenly not a stranger anymore. Well, then you take it a step further and it's like, if you're in another country and someone's speaking English, suddenly that person is not a stranger. And I feel like these types of scenarios make that, whatever that is, if you can define that, make that more true, because we become less about political affiliation, religious differences, racial differences, whatever conflict there is. Because when a tsunami happens, for example, if we're talking about natural disasters, if a tsunami happens, the community comes together. Have y'all ever seen that show? Is it called Rush? Rush, that has Matt Dillon, where he plays that I can't remember what it's called. He plays a skeezy kind of cop, and he's a racist. And that girl, the black couple, he pulls them over. Anyway, that movie is another one that I get that like later, like they have this huge conflict that's a racial conflict. And at the end of the movie, he's having to rescue this woman. He's rescuing this woman that he'd had this huge conflict with. And that feeling of where it's like, it's for humanity, like all of this, it's for humanity rather than like, you know, your inner circle or the people you've always communed with. This is like, to me, this is for the world. The whole world will be a different place. I believe that we will see the evidence of that by April 10th. But that's because I really like gematria. Okay. I don't know the answer to that. Yes, like we were after 9/11. I don't know the answer to the Saddam Hussein thing.
So back to the Schumann resonance.
Okay.
So did you ever hear like the science, because we talk about frequency a lot, but we talk about like when things, when we have a lot of frequency. Did you ever see there was a video about the Tacoma Bridge, where it fell. It was a bridge suspended and the wind. Do you remember seeing that video?
I do, yes. I do.
Well, the video that I saw about it was, because I just clicked on it thinking, well, that's fascinating, not realizing that what it was is the wind caused the vibration, but the frequency of it, and then the guy goes into well, I don't know if he went into it or not, to be honest with you. I just remember reading that, but then I want to say he did, or maybe God told me. I have no idea at this point. I can't remember, but I remember thinking about the wall of Jericho, how they just walked around it.
Yes.
God told them not to do anything, and they just kept walking.
Kept walking. They're
But there was
marching.
a
Yeah. Oh, I
frequency,
think that was mentioned. Yes.
and the frequency, and then to blow, and then the frequency, and then it just fell. That is exactly what it reminded me of, which is like Praying Medic was talking about the other day about, like, was it Praying Medic? About our spirit talks to another spirit, and that in the video, like when we pray for other people, he said, I used to go in and pray for them and be like, I pray that, you know, to break something off or whatever. But he said, sometimes it's a spirit. And he said, they don't listen to your words. They listen to your heart. And so there's that frequency there, that thing that's happening. It's spirit to spirit. And that it is the authority that we take. And so that is what I am imagining when I'm praying and when I'm asking you all and other people to be in agreement with me, that that's such a powerful frequency of believers, like-minded, doing the same thing, that the frequency is literally disintegrating the virus, warring in the spirit kind of thing. Yeah, it was just, when you were doing that, that's what I kept thinking of, was that bridge and the example of the wall and all of that.
I know there are people on here who this is their first introduction to even any of that, the frequency stuff. I started studying it the first time I started bouncing off of people. I got a whole bunch of stop signs from people saying, you know, that's new age. And I'm like, frequency is new age? Well, you need to tell that to science, because literally it exists. And literally the fact that you can hear me talking right now is because of a frequency. And so the fact, I was literally just asking a question about frequency, not anything way out there. And they're like, oh, be careful. That's New Age. Okie dokie. Well, what I know, I began to research it more and did a lot of digging and did lots of research and have come to the conclusion that if your brain is stuck there, then if you don't want to be unstuck from there, then you don't need to do any research. That's all I'm going to say. Because once you start researching it, the frequency of our prayers is even a real thing. The frequency of praise is a certain thing. The frequency of gratitude is a certain thing. This is why I teach you guys heart coherence, because it's literally like unity. And collective consciousness being at the right frequency, I believe, presents the atmosphere that the Schumann resonance would be right for Christ to come back. Right? However you want to look at it. I'm just saying. So I'm going to actually pray over us right now.
Laura, you know when we did that class and you talked about them saying, "Oh, it's New Age." No, it's something that is spiritual that the other free, whatever it is you said that they stole from.
Yes.
No,
yeah.
I'm saying that very badly. Sorry.
No, you're right. No, I mean, everything that's out there in some shape, form, or fashion was created by God. And if that is not your belief, then we wouldn't agree on pretty much anything. So I'm not trying to persuade you with my nuttiness. I'm just saying that I believe that light and dark can both use principles to their advantage. And I use advantage loosely in the matter of darkness, but things that I would be crazy not to look at what the dark side does and see what it is, try to figure out what they've perverted and turned into something. So sorry, I'm looking for a specific.
I would argue that God created frequency first, then the enemy perverted it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I may have messed it up, but that's what I'm saying. I agree. Also, let's do some. All right, here we go. There were a few things that came to me. I'm gonna give you little insider secrets. Sometimes when I'm listening to a prophecy like Kim Clement, I will take notes of the things that he's saying and literally add those to my prayer. So some of the things he said were, bring this nation to its knees. That's one of the phrases that I would say, I'm going to translate that to you right now as repentance. You know, on behalf of our nation, I mean, we are part of our nation. I believe that where you stand is like, if you go outside in the grass and stand, I believe that that is like the earth's acupressure point of whatever it is that you represent. Goodness, love, mercy, pride, arrogance, selfishness, greed, whatever it is, right? And if you could imagine, if you are an acupressure point wherever you stand, and that there's this net of like energy that comes off of you, I would say it's weak energy if you haven't repented, if you haven't loosed things from yourself, let go of the darkness. It's really hard to let go of things, and it's really hard, I should say, to let your light shine if you're hiding darkness somewhere around. And so I look at repentance so different than I did when I was associated with a denominational church that brought guilt and shame. I look at it, I'm talking about a specific, I'm just saying that's how I felt. And I remember the realization of, it's not mine to carry. It's actually like, it's good for me and my acupressure point. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, as that's the Schumann resonance. I'm describing it to you sort of on a personal level. Whatever part of the net we cast over this earth, everybody has their part. And letting go of the things that aren't yours, harboring things, letting go of things that have caused you pain, and literally just asking right now for divine peace and a spirit of breakthrough and hope to wash over us, like to come out of alignment with anything that troubles your soul. Can you not see yourself a step closer this week to forgiving someone who wronged you? Did this week bring you a step closer? I mean, maybe it brought you all the way. As the weeks go on, you may get closer and closer to coming head on with peace, like crashing head on into God's glory, crashing head on into a season of miraculous intervention and growth in your life from the divine. Welcoming a spirit of welcoming and letting go of everything that doesn't belong to you. And as that happens individually, it happens collectively, clothed in white. Is that a vastly different picture than how we kind of believe for repentance? You know? I mean, like cleaning out your corner of the room, you know? Collectively, we are different than personally. Personally, we are different than collectively, but how we look at something, maybe you can see it one way or the other easier. I think that's why God's given me that imagery. I see like a grid that circles. Depends on who you ask whether it circles or it goes flat, right? But circles the earth, a grid. And like, you know, like hands across America going in every direction, you know, glowing, beautiful, iridescent light coming out from everything that is within me, just projecting in every direction. And where my field stops, yours begins, you know? And we're all standing in our yards, projecting this beautiful, like rainbow illuminescent light of forgiveness, of mercy. I heard someone say, I think Patricia King today say, pray for mercy. Like mercy on us as a country, mercy on us as a nation, as individuals, mercy on our leaders, mercy on what I would have, you know, mercy on those who have committed heinous crimes, that they pray, that they repent, that they come before the Lord. And as you're just releasing more and more tonight, I mean, collectively, the vibe of this call is beautiful. Collectively, the hearts for humanity. I wrote down to not be afraid to let your light shine. God, we don't have a spirit of fear. And if you let down your judgment guard, maybe other people will let down their judgment guard. And the world can be like you thought it was going to be when you were a kid. You have images in your mind ever. Maybe some of you had horrible childhoods, like really indescribable horrible, but maybe even in those instances, maybe you had a glimmer of when I get older, I know, you know, like life's going to be better. Life's going to be whatever. And the way you kind of have that dopey, honeymoony thing when you first get married or before you're about to get married. And then you're like, well, this is all different and stinky socks, you know, like, and then that feeling that same feeling, can you conjure up that feeling? That's a wrong word to use, but like, can you pull up the feeling of hope of what things should be like, right? I'm running for president this year. Y'all write me in on the ballot. I'm just kidding. I want nothing to do with any of that. Maybe I get to go to a White House ball. If I do, I'm going to wear my Schumann Resonance white dress. It's okay to laugh. Laughter is going to be your best friend over the next 2 weeks, or whatever 2 weeks from the announcement, right? Oh, there's my sweet Elena girl. God, we come into alignment with the divine plan over our nation, over our world. That, you ever seen God like break a life down to like powder and then reassemble it? You've seen that. Like, I've had it happen to me where I was like, literally, like, I was just pieces of myself, and God has reassembled my life. Literally a new identity. Like, I thought, I hear people say, it's just in my DNA now. I'm just a Christian. And I thought that was what they thought. I thought that's what they meant happened when they got saved. It wasn't like that for me. Like, getting saved didn't do all that. Like, it didn't like pulverize me and recreate me. All the following years have recreated me. And that visualization that you have on your own life, just projecting it out to the world as a whole, because I believe that every person on the call was born for this. I believe it. No one could convince me of it. Otherwise, I would just ignore you if you tried to. I believe that we were born to live in this time. I believe our children will manifest angels. Like, I literally have zero doubt about that. I believe we might. I mean, I still think I'm in that generation that's between the 70s mom and then the moms that are, just having kids right now. I'm in that generation that kind of bridges the gap between my parents. And then I kind of grew up in kind of the regimented stuff, but I was a little bit free from that. And therefore I raised my kids a little bit freer from it. And I'm just imagining how they're going to raise their kids. Flowing in freedom. If y'all don't recognize this as a prayer, God's just given me imagery, and I'm just as I see it. God, we thank you. We thank you. And you know what? The imagery that God gives you of hope, it's your job to incubate that. If you're incubating fear, you're projecting what the devil put there. If you are an incubator for the enemy, shame, a shame. Not shame. But just don't do it. It's a bad idea. Whatever God hatches inside your brain that's filled with hope and beauty, incubate it, sit on it like a mama eagle or a daddy. I hear that the daddies might do it. I don't know. But sit on it, incubate it, keep it warm. Let your imagination, God has revealed so much to me about imagination. Literally having heard on a video that somebody said, Dan McCullum says, after all, we were hatched in we were made in his imagination. And I was like, we were made in his imagination. Right? We were made in his image, made in his imagination. And if we are made in his image, then we can do the same. We can manifest a different acupressure point, a different color that comes out from your acupressure point, a different vibe that comes out. If you're carrying around stuff that doesn't belong to you, do it right now. Like, this is not an altar call. Y'all are all in your spot, and nobody's going to see your Baptist hiney get up and go to the front. You can do it. Let it go. Let it go. You don't got to be scared. You can turn your camera off, and you can put your hands in the air and bring down the glory cloud in your house, or you can just watch and wonder if anybody else is doing that, because you wouldn't know now, would you? God, let your glory shine out on those of us who have had concerns. Lord, bring your wealth of wellness over anyone who is in struggles for their health right now. God, I call down supernatural angels of healing, angels of mercy, to do what I believe is your intention to do. May this raise up an army of believers who are so incredibly powerful in their faith that the ground shakes when they walk. Yeah, buddy. May they walk in complete confidence that when they tell something to move, it will move. May our children be 10 times as brave as we are. May there be nothing that come out of my mouth that would make that otherwise. May God's glory shine on them as they sleep tonight. God, right now, I just call intercessors all across the world right now. I mean, they were born for this. God, I just call your intercessors. If they are asleep or in an ignoring phase, God, I call them to wake up. I call the angels of revival, shivers, to wakey, wakey. It's time. You ever heard the story that Benny Johnson tells about a girl going out because God told her to an old mission, and she was supposed to literally say, he's like, I want you to go there and I want you to yell, wakey, wakey. And she's like, okay. So she goes and there's people around and she's like, wakey, wakey. And he's like, I said, yell it. So she's like, oh, wakey, wakey. Anyway, when she finally did it and just yelled, wakey, wakey, an angel that's feet were the size of a building, the building that she was looking at, its feet stood up. It had been laying there. And she learned that it was the angel of the revival, of a certain revival. That angel was in charge of that revival. God called a woman, just an ordinary person, to go wake it up. So it's a cool story, isn't it? Yeah. Wakey, wakey, all the angels of heaven right now. Can you imagine the excitement about what is about to take place? God, we are so excited for your glory. We are excited for what you have in store. God, you are the all in all. And I'm inclined to believe that nothing shocks him. I don't think things surprise him. Oh, I want to pray over my sweet girl, Elena. Is she still up? She was wanting a bedtime prayer. Oh, there she is.
First, we need to say
right
something.
now. What's that?
Alina, your daughter's angel has blonde curly hair, Alina just told me, and she's got a leaf dress on.
Who's angel?
Alina's daughter.
Alina's daughter? Her angel. Could you say it one more time?
Her angel has curly blonde hair and has a leafy dress.
Leafy dress. Oh my gosh. What fun imagery is that going to be? That was beautiful. Oh, is it turn? Elena, what else are you saying? Is it time for me to pray over you? Oh, she's telling me something. Crystal, tell me, what is she saying?
She's embarrassed that I told you guys vocally.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to tell you. Can I just go ahead and pray for her so that she can?
No.
No. Okay. No prayers for Elena, but if there are any other little kids on the call, I'd like to say good night. Sleep tight. May God send his angels to watch over you and literally brush their wings across your face while you sleep. May his loving arms wrap around you. And may your gifts and spiritual anointing increase immeasurably with every waking breath. May God's truth rise up in your heart in a new and powerful, anointed way. And may you feel no pressure from it. May you only feel God's love. May you be the generation that walks in complete freedom from religion and walks only in truth. Wow. I'm reading here. Oh. God, I thank you for your, not only your provision, but your abundance. Financial and otherwise, all needs easily met and then some. May God be rising up a company of people to focus less on self and more on others. May he literally be filling your heart with rays of that kind of love, even as we are on here tonight. May Holy Spirit fall on all your heart's notions, all your intentions. May you be extraordinarily blessed, and that literally that you take this time that you have and consider every piece of it a gift. The time at home, the time with your family, the time when we are quiet. May you be still and know that God is. And then when we're not quiet anymore and we can come collectively back together, may we be all changed significantly because of the work that God does in us in this time. So God bless each one of you, and God bless this nation that we live in. I am honored to know each and every one of you, and I am not scared. This is going to be beautiful. So I pray that everyone that was on here was as blessed tonight as I was by all of your presence. My hope is that I'll see everyone on Thursday night when I will do a compelling, heartfelt talk about how to keep your immune system strong in the Beauty Inside and Out group. You're welcome to invite anybody to it. I'm not going to pressure anybody to do anything. It's just going to be without all the weird stuff, very much like this call. You know, a call to arms about the immune system. Thursday night, Beauty Inside and Out group. And then it's intention to be with you guys again on Tuesday night. If something if something goes out with the internet, obviously, I don't know what all that's going to look like. That's the only part that has me going. I don't know what that's going to look like. Will all my pictures be gone? Will it come back online? Well, I don't know. But I really don't think that any of that is what this is about. The night I announced toilet paper and non-perishables, the level of people's understanding of what was going on was, that's crazy. And then it went from, obviously, it's a hoax in Italy or China or whatever. And then it was like, you don't think it's real. And it's felt like 2 years have happened in the last week, how quickly things have escalated. And literally everyone who's followed the underground network that I followed, they're all just like, it's here. Literally, that community was about to lose their mind because they thought this was never going to happen. They believed that this part of what they call the show was never going to happen. We were never going to get to the part where there was actual justice. I'm excited. So, if there were links that you want, the one that we showed on here tonight, I thought was really powerful. If you want to dive nose deep and see all the gory everything, there is a series out there called Fall Cabal. It wasn't around when I started, so I didn't know what was going on about half the stuff I read when I started. But it's a 10-part docuseries on YouTube. It takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to watch all of it. So if you're going to do it, you need to do it before we lose internet. You need to do it while you can watch 3 hours all at once. It is definitely not for children. I'm talking all the gory. Give you a better understanding. I can't completely endorse the entire thing because while I do agree with most of it, I don't know how much of it we're going to find out is or isn't true. But if you feel you're really out of the loop and you're like, I'm really lost, that will put you in the deep end fast. It's not at first when I was red pilling people, I was sending them a little Joe M video that's basically like the plan to save the world. And it's a really stirring short little video. It's not 3 hours of documentary with now proof. In the beginning, there was no proof that any of this was true until it started unfolding. So if you can't find number 5, you can usually Google, not YouTube, you can usually Google Fall Cabal 5. That video, if you don't watch it, you'll miss out on it keeps getting censored because of how much info there is. So if you can't find
who they're talking about.
Who they're talking about. Yeah, who they're specifically talking about. So number 5, if you want to Google it rather than on YouTube, lots of times it'll pull up other websites that are hosting that video rather than YouTube. You don't skip it. If you are blissfully unaware, this is a disclaimer and for true, for real. If you are blissfully unaware and okay with being that way and just writing this thing out and seeing where it goes, if that's the kind of personality you have my full permission to stay there. I wanted to dig. I'm a truther, big time. I used to not be until my brother died, and that completely changed me. And I'm not criticizing you if you want to stay in that space and not watch something like that. That's why I didn't bring it up early on in this. I figured only people who hung around for this whole mess of a Zoom would be interested in that particular documentary. I think I've shared everything we want to share tonight. I wrapped this whole thing up in Yeshua, mighty name. That's the real name. And that's whose name we pray in. Amen. Night, everybody.
Night.
Yeah, you got to watch it to the end. If you watch Fall Cabal, you have to go all the way to 9 and 10 because that's where it gets good. That's where the plan starts coming in, not the why behind the plan, but the actual plan. Yes, Gary.
I was thinking about, you brought up the Baptists won't be, and I feel like I'm pulling some of my people out of their Baptist pews. But Sunday, I just felt like when Trump tweeted that he was going to be watching Jensen Franklin, I was like, okay, I've watched Jensen before. I'm a big fan or whatever, if you will. That's fan is the correct word. But if you are on the Baptist pews or you're not sure, I just felt like the Lord, there was going to be something powerful there. And we watched it together as our four tribe here. It was beautiful. It was powerful. He didn't, and the best part, okay, let's say, we went to church. It was good. We all got the good feelings. But at the end, watch it to the end, he has you pray. And we prayed as a family, all four of us holding hands. And literally, I could feel the power going through the four of us like never before. So as a collective family, calling out I keep going back to Little House on the Prairie, but as families, we need to have that, and we don't have that in our society. And it was very, very powerful. And at the end, it set fire.
Yeah.
And that's a good move off of the Baptist pew, but doesn't throw you right in the midst of the fire.
Right. That's good. That's a good way to put it. I teasingly joke about Baptists. I was one for years and years.
Yes, me
and
too.
so
Me too.
I say it with all the love in the world. Most of the people that get on here know that I tease around about once I started raising my hands and healing people, the Baptist church didn't want me anymore. So
right.
That's just was my experience, my particular one. So I'm just joking anyway. So okay. I'm gonna do there's a website called Sword Rescue, spelled SORD. That is Mark Taylor's website. There are some great prayers on there, prayers of repentance, prayers for the country, and his prophecies leading up to Trump being elected, and his prophecies about 501c3 churches. The prophecies God has given him in light of all of that are on his website if you would like to look at that. Oh yeah, you're talking about Mark Taylor? Yep. It wasn't spiritual warfare, but he only has about, I think, a handful of prayers, maybe 10 or 12. I could be wrong. So the one about warfare, that's a really good one. Gosh, the repentance or forgiveness one. Oh, love you too, sweet girl. See you later. I'm sorry, I'm getting private messages in between. Yeah, his website's not amazingly friendly. If you see him on video, you'll see why. He's just an old firefighter. He's not old. He's just a firefighter, just run-of-the-mill guy. Well, obviously not completely run-of-the-mill, right? But his website, his book, he has an incredible book called The Trump Prophecies, I think. And it talks a lot about his life as well. His website, you kind of just got to scroll down and click around. SORDrescue.com. Sword Rescue, all one word. Or a lot of his videos are on YouTube, but they're easier to find if you're looking for a specific topic, I think. If you, or you could also, you could probably Google Mark Taylor 501c3 and pull up very specific videos if that's what you're looking for. Okay. It's really impressive though to watch all his Trump videos or read his Trump prophecies if you want to understand who he is and the way God talks to him, because it's pretty powerful. Powerful like Kim Clement, I would say. Okay, for real, guys, this is a really long video, so you guys have a great night. I hope to see you next Tuesday. In between now and then, invite people to Thursday. That's our next point of contact. High five. Night.